Hello Internet friends, and welcome to the Legion Alpha Beta coverage and summary of the new Discipline Priest coming up in World of Warcraft Legion. This will be all of my testing summarized with no artifact. I do artifacts in the next pass. This is pass number 1 for everything I found about the Discipline Priest. If you want to find out more about all the different intricacies of Mind Blast and Shadow Mend and all the details and a lot more into it, please refer to the broadcast on Twitch. It is linked down below in the description. Of course, if you've missed any of my previous testing, please refer to my channel guide. Everything is laid out right there for you and put together in a way that you can check everything out in a really quick, easy fashion. Everything is dated and organized and listed, so please do that, as well as all of my bugs, my bug report, and my notes that I have found will be listed in a Google document in the video description box below. But let's get into this real quick. I will preface this video by saying people have told me this is a cool new spec. They're like, oh, everyone's like yelling about it. It's so neat, and it's cool, and it's new, and it's fancy. And I will agree, it definitely has some cool hooks, and the kit is neat. And they have changed a lot from like on live, where like powered shield, powered shield, powered shield, powered shield, penance. Yeah, that's all you do, right? I mean, maybe you cast some Clarity of Wills. Clarity of Will, I'll open up with, is still here. However, due to the fact that it's still a single target cast, and that a lot of your Atonement healing, which has been changed, I'll go into it in a moment, has been changed so drastically, I almost feel like Clarity of Will be so niche that you won't really use it that often. I'm not sure. Divine Star and Halo could also be complete filler right now. They could not actually make it into the live build, but we'll see as the alpha beta testing goes forward. But to go through everything real quick, this is your kit right now. I have Halo talented right now, so you'll see that on my bar. But everything else is pretty much baseline. Mind Control is still here. Dispel Magic is still here. Mass Dispel, Mind Vision. Again, Halo is still here. Leap of Faith. I wonder if Leap of Faith will have the like a glyph you can still put in to make yourself go to the target, not the other way around. But we'll see. Levitate is still here. Powered Barrier, still very much here. Psychic Scream, Purify, Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend, note, does not give you mana back. Only Mind Bender will give you mana back. And, yeah, Shackle Undead is still here. Resurrection is still here. And, so yeah, Smite, still here. But, first off, Discipline Priest heals by doing damage. Literally heals by doing damage now, almost like 80%, 85%. You can spec a little bit, you can like heal directly, but it's not the same. So Atonement is Plea, this guy right here, Plea, Powered Shield, and Shadow Mend will all apply Atonement to the target. Powered Radiance also applies Atonement as well, but at 50% of the normal duration. Figure this is out like this is like your new like power, prayer of healing, where you don't have to have a target, but it will do a friendly target and their 5 nearest allies. So it heals like you plus 5. I can only heal me and 2 dummies right now, but this is how Atonement works. 50% of the damage you deal, all damage you deal, will then heal the atoned buffed players. Focused Will is still here. Melee attacks will cause you to gain Focused Will, reducing damage taken by 15% and increasing damage you deal by 15% for 8 seconds up to 2 stacks. Only a PvP thing, really. And then your Mastery now is Absolution, which increases the healing transferred through Atonement multiplicatively of the 50% base. So right now, on my character, I have 14%. So 1.14 times 50%. Makes it go up to 57 and some decimal place or what now. So that's how Absolution will work. It is multiplicative of your base 50% of your Atonement. So as you gain, so if you eventually get 50% Mastery, you'll be healing for 75% of all damage dealt. Right? That's your main source of damage, is by doing damage, with Atonement being on your allies. So again though, you have to put Powered Shield up, which you'll notice there is no Weakened Soul debuff anymore. I took freaking Body and Soul right now. Just so Body and Soul is still here, Angelic Feather is still here, Masochism is still here for Shadow Priest as well, where your Shadow Man doesn't hurt yourself, but just so you're not freaking out about what you're seeing on this mob, on this dummy. So Powered Shield has a 6-second cooldown now. No Weakened Soul though, and it has been confirmed by Blizzard that you can have multiple Powered Shields for multiple Disciplined Priests, because it's their own shield, right? Powered Shield can also crit, so it can do double the overall shielding. There you go, 77k. It does not stack, but it can crit to do double effectiveness. So 38k, 38.7k right now, or the double up was 77 and some change, right? Additionally, they have changed Clarity of Will now, so it's either 2 casts to be fully stacked or 1 crit. But as I have in my bug report notes or my things that are kind of wonky, there's no way you can tell if Clarity of Will crit for the full stack amount, or no way to really tell if Powered Shield crit for the full stack amount. Like, the priest doesn't get any feedback for that. So you never know if it crit, so you don't have to keep casting it, right? And Powered Shield, obviously, you can't keep casting yet. I'll get ahead to that in a moment. But you can't keep casting it. It's I don't know how it works with multiple casts. Like, there's the crit, so it's at 77k now. So, whereas the base amount should be the 38.7. So, we'll have to see how that works, if there's any feedback. Otherwise, you'll need an add-on or a weak aura to show you that, oh, I cast Clarity of Will once if I'm using it, and it crit, so boom, it's stacked fully, I can move to the next target, or go to the other tank. Or you cast Powered Shield with, now, the caveat to that is Rapture is your 1.5 minute, like, personal offensive and helpful cooldown right now, right? So, Rapture, for 8 seconds, Powered Shield has no cooldown. Now, remember the GCD. There's a GCD involved here. You can only cast it so many times, but you can get multiple Powered Shields all over the place. And then, of course, you can go to town with your damage and your healing, so they all get the full effects of this and yada, yada, yada. But you can... It was suggested to me that you can use Rapture as, like, a tank cooldown, where you can Rapture and then just spam PWS on the tank, which I don't know if that's super effective. You could, like, Powered Shield, Penance, a mob, Powered Shield, Mind Blast, Powered Shield. Like, you can, like, kind of weave multiple Powered Shields in a smaller window, but I kind of feel like it's going to be like a, oh crap, this group stood in the poopy, here's a shield, let me heal real quick, or do damage real quick to heal them as well. Because it's just instant GCDs, and you can target who to put the shields on, whereas Powered Radiance obviously will pick a target, either yourself or a target you target, and then 5 nearest allies. So, and it only gives you half duration on the Atonement healing as well. So, there's choices to be made there between Rapture and Powered Radiance. I will go back real quick to Pain Suppression being a 5-minute cooldown in Legion. This is due to the new pruning effect on all the healing and tanking cooldowns. They should feel more beneficial when used because they're so more powerful, because they're a longer cooldown window. People were like, oh, it's going to be crazy for PvP. There might be a talent in PvP that reduces the cooldown of Pain Suppression, but all Disciplined Priests will have this same cooldown, so you'll know, like, holy crap, they Pain Supped. I can't really hurt that target, or by 40% less damage for 8 seconds, right? Or they use it on themselves, and that's down for 5 minutes. So there's a huge change now because they're not going to be as readily available, these raid cooldowns and whatnot. Like, Power Barrier is still 3 minutes, right? Lasts for 10 seconds. So, but that's your raid cooldown. This is your tank or single target cooldown. Then you've got your sort of interweaving, extra atonement, extra shielding cooldown here, right? So you've got some options. I think it's pretty neat. Again, all damage you deal, 50% of it will heal atonement targets, which does mean you sort of have this maintenance effect, right? You have to keep atonement up on people to actually heal them. Plea is a new heal, instant 40-yard range is a quick, it says efficient. It doesn't really do a lot of healing, and it's really cheap, I guess, but it's a way, it's efficiently put up atonement, right? Like, you can spam this pretty quickly, get your atonement buffs up there, and then sort of go to town. And then for the next, 18 seconds, 15 seconds or so, based on the GCDs and changing targets, you can do a lot of damage, and then it goes to healing. Penance, by default, will only do damage to targets. You cannot heal with it. You can take the Penitent, however, which will make you able to cast it on a friendly target. The issue is, maybe good for PvP, or maybe good for only tank healing. The problem is, doing this and healing with it will only heal one person. Otherwise, you could have multiple atonements out and then use like castigation, which is 1 additional bolt, so 4 bolts in total during the duration. Or you can take schism or schism or schism. I looked that up on Google and it was like 3 different pronunciations, but you can take schism and the final bolt of penance AoEs. So single target, more beneficial because it's going to hit 4 times on 1 target for more damage, because you got to think about this. You're kind of like a half and half damage class now. Like your damage will be meaningful. On the testing right now, I was told that they kind of do like tank damage. They could do a little more, but still tank damage is not like garbage truck tier anymore. Like it's meaningful damage. It has to be because they don't have, there's no, vengeance is definitely gone. And so they have to sort of do damage enough. So doing damage by a tank standpoint is still pretty good. But Schism then is your AoE choice. So if you look at this, boom, boom, and then boom. And of course, if you have Atonement up on, people, when you do this, if you're AoEing, your penance will heal 1 tick, 1 tick, 1 tick, 1 tick, and then the explosion tick will also heal as well. So it all goes into healing. Again, I'll show it with the healing to me so you can see all the spam for it. So you get the 1, 2, and 3 hits. It's weird. The first hit of the Nova actually goes off before the 3rd hit of the explosion, or the 3rd hit of penance. So this is it's atonement here, and this is a crit explosion because the explosion does less damage, about half, little less than half the damage of the actual penance hits. So it's weird how the combat log sees it, but it hits you every single time. This is 3 hits of penance, and then 3 AoE hits from the shadow explosion from Schism. So it's 6 hits of atonement in 1 cast, if you're AoEing, 3 targets or whatever. But it's cool you have an AoE choice, a single target choice, and then if you can choose to do it to 1 person, if you want to. Angelic Feather's still here. Longer cooldown than live right now. 15 seconds here, 10 seconds on live. Body and Soul still here for Power Word Shield. Masochism, again, Shadowman doesn't hurt yourself. Shining Force, I can't show off in this video. I can show off the actual effect, but you target an ally or yourself and an instant cast, and it's a AoE plus knockback. So the knocking them away, and then they are 70% snared for 3 seconds. I did test this out with a viewer of mine. It's a 20-yard knockback. It's kind of funny looking. I stood right here and knocked them all the way back to right before this little training dummy, little spiky thing. 20-yard knockback, targetable on a player, the tank, for example, or you. If someone rips aggro in a raid, you can Shining Force them. It'll knock them away relative to their positioning, right? Because it's an orb knock away, kind of like how Blackhand's knock up did based on where it hits the target. Same thing. But still, that's pretty cool utility. Psychic Voice is just reducing the cooldown on your Psychic Scream by half a minute, so it goes down from 1 minute to 30 seconds. Dominant Mind is still here as well for Dominate Mind, which is just mind controlling, gives you a pet bar for 30 seconds, other than just like only controlling the NPC. You get like a pet, right? Powered Solace is still here. It does damage, so it will of course atone, and it gives you back a little bit of your mana. Shield of Discipline is back. The old Rapture is back. It's like Wrath of the Lich King style. When your Powered Shield is completely absorbed, you instantly are refunded 1% of your maximum mana. So by default math, casting Powered Shield on the normal 6-second cooldown over the course of a minute will give you 10 casts or 10% of your maximum mana over the course of a minute. So just mana regen. Mindbender is the upgraded version of Shadow Fiend. This gives you back mana. It hits faster, but does less damage, whereas the actual Shadow Fiend, this is 15-second duration, attacks faster, gives you mana, less damage. Shadow Fiend, 3-minute cooldown, 12-second duration, attacks a lot harder. So Shadow Fiend is kind of like almost a healing cooldown, because say if you cast off like 1 or 2 powered Radiances, and then you cast Shadow Fiend, or you have Shadow Fiend up when you're Radiance casting, then your Shadow Fiend smacks, it hit like 10k at my damage right now, 20k crits, will of course heal. Whereas the Mindbender is more about mana, less about being a healing, like cooldown, I suppose. So cool choices there a little bit, very flavorful. I don't know, depending on how you want to get your mana back. Mindbender is obviously scaling with your haste, so it'll give you more mana back as you gear up. whereas Discipline is very flat. Obviously, if you Rapture and then have Shield Discipline, you can have shields everywhere, and they'll give you tons more mana back. But again, it's weird that this is now Rapture and this is Shield Discipline, so it's there. Contrition is 5 more seconds on Atonement. Again, it lasts for 15 normally, or half that with Radiance. Atonement will then last, as I have it talented now, it'll last for 20 seconds. Cast it on myself here, 20 seconds of duration. Normally it's only 15. Helps you out with keeping your Atonement buff up longer if you don't want to maintenance it as much. That's the biggest thing about Discipline now, is you'll have to maintenance your Atonement to stay able to. You can keep doing damage, but unless you keep casting some Pleas, some Shadow Mends, or some Powered Shields, you're not going to heal anybody. Power Infusion, self-buff, 25% haste for 20 seconds, reduces the mana cost of all spells by 20%, spam all day. Sort of a DPS and healing cooldown in total right there, right? It's mini heroism. And Twist of Fate, after you heal a target below 35% health, you will deal 20% increased damage and 20% increased healing. To my understanding, they are separate effects. So if you do 1,000 damage hit, it will be amped by 20%. So it'll be a 1,200 damage attack, which is then cut in half for Atonement at base level, and heal for 600, but before that 600 heal affects, it will be increased by 20%. That's how I think it's worked. That's how chat was telling me that's how it works. It cuts it in half. There's no weird cross double dipping nonsense. It's that the damage is then amped, then cut by Atonement, and then amped a little bit after that. I could be wrong. Commenters, please correct me if I'm wrong. Clarity of Will again still here. Divine Star is still here as well. You know, a little bit of Divine Star action, a little bit of woo. That was because it hit the wall there. I'll wait for a cooldown. But Divine Star is only healing, and it's in, of course, the short little, like, column in front of you. I kind of feel that Divine Star is fine, but I almost feel that in the next talent here, and there it goes, like, Halo should both do damage to enemies and heal allies, because right now it only heals. And I almost feel like it should be both, because it's sort of like there's this Shadow and Holy back and forth with Discipline Priests, so... Grace increases your non-Atonement healing and absorption by 30% on targets with Atonement. So again, you can take the Penitent and then have Grace, and then put a Powered Shield in the tank, and then Penance them, and deal 30% more healing to that one target. But that's like the old way of healing, I suppose, if you want to do that way. Otherwise, Grace is just like, if you put this up there, then your Plea and your Shadow Men will be stronger. And that's the only synergy it really has, right? Purge the Wicked is fire damage. It replaces Shadow Word Pain. It is basically Holy Fire. And then if you hit them with a Penance, it will move the Holy Fire. It'll move the dot one target. It'll spread it. The problem, as I've seen here now, is that there is a weird bug where you can spread the spread dot. Oh, now it's not gonna do it. Does it a lot weirder at times. There's like a spread dot awkwardness where you can spread. There it goes. See, it spread that dot, but it gave it the full duration, which I don't know if that's correct or not. But again, having out multiple Purge the Wickeds, multiple dots, they'll keep doing damage, and then if you have Atonements out, they'll keep having hots on them. It's just like rolling like a Rejuvenation or a Renew in that sense. Which I'll also bring up, the last passive you have is Revelation, which your Smite and Mind Blast cast have a 30% chance to reset the cooldown on Penance. So right now, Mind Blast is the better button to spam, but it's like not mana positive, whereas Smite is better for your mana regen. Whereas Smite does synergize with the Legendary that priests get, with Discipline Priests can get, and it might synergize better with your artifact, but again, I don't know. But Mind Blast just feels like it's too good right now. Apparently the last build changed Mind Blast to have like the Tooth and Claw effect and whatnot. What could change in the future. So, or be fixed or be one stack, because it stacks 3 times now, which is awkward. Which I don't know if it's supposed to be a thing, right? Here's 1 stack, here's 2 stacks, and here's 3. But it doesn't actually go up above that, but there's no communication for that right now, so. The last talent, real quick here, as I have to run away to get out of combat, is called Shadow Covenant, which is a heal. It replaces Holy Word Radiance, and it is a up to 5 injured ally heal within 30 yards for a slightly longer cast time. This heals for like 2.3 times what Radiance initially heals for, but then they will have a Healing Absorb Shell on them that absorbs half of the healing. So it's similar to how Shadow Mend works. Again, check the VOD for all the shenanigans here. So I don't know if Shadow Covenant will be good or not. It's weird. It's very, very quick heal, but you're never going to spam it. So we'll have to wait and see what Discipline Priests find out in the future. But that's everything. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any curiosities for more testing, please stop by the live stream. I will be there. And if you are new to the channel, you hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a great deal, of course, because you can know when I'm going live. The like button helps me out as well, too. If you enjoyed this little preview, I'll keep doing more of them, as long as you keep watching them. And if you want to help me out a little bit more than that, maybe check out my Patreon page and toss me a couple of buckaroonies, keep me going, doing what I'm doing here, or just someone live streaming and hang out. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next summary video.